Well, hello everyone. Thank you all so much for joining. My name is Summer Jones. I am our Vertical Business Development Manager here at ACDI, and I'm joined by Rafael Ahunta. He is our Product Manager for Scanshare and very technical. That's why I brought him on board so he can talk technical with you guys all about Scanshare. So like I said, thank you all so much for joining today. Scanshare is definitely not a new product for us. We have been selling it, but here recently, we have just been seeing a tremendous uptick in Scanshare in the legal space. So we kind of wanted to come on here, share some of the success that we've been seeing with you guys, and just help you guys out with any opportunities that you have for Scanshare in the legal space. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so if you are not familiar with Scanshare, if you have been living under a rock, it's a powerful, easy to use software solution that integrates paper and digital records into existing document management systems and repositories. So what that basically means is any and all of those paper documents that you have laying around, whether it be your law office, in your car, in your briefcase, wherever it may be, it takes all of those paper documents and turns them into digital documents that you can access and have the ability to search as well. So it's going to capture and convert those paper documents. It also has barcode detection on it. There's smart page splitting, zonal character recognition, as well as connector packs. And the great thing that you're going to see about Scanshare today is that it's completely customizable. So if you have a customer that needs to scan all of their documents into Google Drive, Scanshare can help with that. Or if they need to scan it into iManage, whatever the case may be, the workflow that we can help you guys create is completely customizable. So it's going to fit whatever your customer needs to do. All right, let's talk about numbers. I am a number person. That's how everything makes sense to me. So if some of you guys are as well, hopefully this will kind of resonate with you guys. So on average, workers in the legal space waste $20,000 annually in time with document challenges. I don't know about you, but $20,000 is a lot of money to spend wasting time with document challenges. Number two, workers spend 18 minutes on average searching for a document. 18 minutes, guys. I know that doesn't seem like a lot, in terms of a whole entire day, but if you're spending 18 minutes on average looking for a document, what if you're doing that 2 to 3 times a day? When you think about doing that 2 or 3 times a day, what does that mean for a week, for the next 6 months, for a year? That is a lot of time that you or your employees could spend doing their actual roles or jobs. Number 3, 70% of businesses would fail within 3 weeks of a catastrophic loss of paper records. I know we've all seen it, whether it be in the doctor's office, dentist office, or maybe if you've had experience with a lawyer. Sometimes their paper trails can be a little bit messy. So Scanshare can help kind of digitize some of those processes. Number 4, 5.6 hours of billable work are missed every single day by small law firms. And guys, I promise you, if you are speaking with a customer and tell them that on average 5.6 hours of billable work are missed every day by small law firms, I promise that's going to resonate with them. Because if that's every single day, like I said before, think about what that looks like for a week, 6 months, a year. That is going to be a lot of hours that they're missing out on that they could be making more money and more revenue, which is also going to be a big proponent on why they should buy Scanshare from you. Number 5, 446.5 million consumer records containing personal identifiable information, or PII, were exposed last year. Whenever you hire a lawyer, probably your number one main concern is going to be confidentiality. And with Scanshare, it's going to help with some of those stress that some of your clients may have with keeping all of their information confidential, because it's going to go right where you need it to, and it's going to be safe and secure. All right, let's kind of look at the market. Whenever you guys are speaking with customers, I think it's really important to kind of know what their legal landscape is. So we've kind of noticed a trend and broken it down into 4 different sub-markets within the legal space. So first, you have your solo law firms. These are going to be single lawyers that handle general legal matters with probably one office admin. So when you look at Scanshare and think about it, if you only have one lawyer and one office staff, more than likely they're going to be taking on other roles that they probably wouldn't do if they were in a bigger legal space or law firm. So if you bring them to a solution that's going to be saving them time, they are really going to appreciate you. You have boutique law firms. This is a law firm with 2 to 10 employees. You have full service firms. These are firms with several dozens of lawyers and employees, including lawyers, paralegals, admins, etc. And then you have multi-state firms. So these are full service firms that just cover multi-states. But when you get into some of those bigger opportunities with full service firms, multi-state firms, when you think about it, they are going to have dozens or if not hundreds of different lawyers. They're going to have multiple cases that they're trying to keep track of. So when you think about trying to organize all of those documents with all of those lawyers and admins and paralegals in multiple states, that's going to get pretty stressful really quick. But luckily, Scanshare has an easy solution that can help with all of that. All right, let's kind of talk about where we win. So throughout this presentation, you'll kind of get to know the tagline that Scanshare has of capture, process, and store. So we're going to kind of talk about that a little bit. All right, so first let's talk about capture. So what Scanshare does first is capture the actual document. So this may be court documents, contracts, invoices, anything like that. But the problem with this is all of that takes time, effort, and there could also be a possibility for human error. So let's say we have someone named Miss Shelley who unfortunately is dealing with a child custody case. She's had, unfortunately, bad interactions with her ex-husband, and she is trying to take custody of her kids. But luckily for her, she has kept receipts and screenshots of all of these text message interactions. She's recorded phone calls. All of that is great, and it's going to help a lawyer out. But if he doesn't have a way to accurately store and keep all of that data in one place, it's going to be a little bit harder when it comes time to the actual case. So Scanshare can help capture that data, and then it processes all of that data that you have. So what it does with processing is it features a multi-step manual task into a new level of digitization. So the cool thing about Scanshare is it has image cleanup, redaction and annotation. It also reads barcodes. It has smart OCR, OMR, and data lookup and export, and intelligent triggers and routing. So for example, with Miss Shelley, anytime this lawyer gets any new information about Miss Shelley, he can capture all of this data and put it into her folder, whether that may be in Google Drive, like I said before. He processes all of that data, and then the next step would be to store and access it. So after he processes it, it's going to go straight into Google Drive, for example, like I said. So in addition to these custom workflows that we can build, we can also create custom file type locations. And Roth at the end is going to come on and give you guys a great demo of that as well. So that way, if you are a visual person, you can kind of see those custom workflows and triggers in action. So also, like I said before, the great thing about Scanshare is it is completely customizable. So these can be sent directly to Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, or another location to ensure maximum security as well. So we do have over 80 connectors built in within Scanshare. So you can store your document to almost, I like to say endless locations, but there does have to be an end somewhere. But you can scan them into document management systems, ERP platforms, CRM applications, and cloud-based file storage platforms. So like I said before, if you do need to scan into iManage, Scanshare can help with that, or Google Drive, Dropbox, OneDrive, Salesforce, anything like that. All right, and I know all of you guys are probably, tenured reps on here, or if you are a new rep, into the space, congratulations, and we welcome you. But I do kind of want to talk about prospecting questions. And guys, I do have 3 slides on this. I'm not going to go over all of them today. I don't want to bore you guys with that information, but we are going to be sending this PowerPoint out after the presentation. So I strongly encourage you guys to download the PowerPoint, kind of go through all 3 of these slides of prospecting questions, and honestly just copy and paste them into a Word document and print them out. So that way, when you are presented with Scanshare opportunities in the legal space, you already have a list of questions that you can ask that are going to kind of help out with kind of the discovery, so you can see what exactly they need and what you could help with. So how do you currently manage documents in your legal practice? This is probably going to be the first question that you ask, just because you can see if there is a need for Scanshare. Maybe they do already have a great system in place for digitizing all of their documents, but more than likely they aren't. And so when you get to asking them these questions, it's going to open up another door. So then you can talk about some of the challenges that they have with organizing, storing, or retrieving the documents. Also talk about security. Maybe they've been hit with PII fines. You want to get, some of those questions going. Like I said before, how do you access these documents on the go? Where are the most important ones? And like I said, these will be sent out after, so strongly encourage you guys to jot those down. And I do have a question. How do we access the PowerPoint? Yeah, so you will get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation. And in the presentation, it will have a list of the connectors as well. So since you guys registered for the webinar, we will be sending you guys out an email after the webinar. And this presentation will be attached in there. So you will have access to it so you can copy and paste all of those questions or, take note of the connectors. All right, so overall, why should you implement Scanshare? It's going to increase the efficiency and productivity. Like I said before, if you can save a lawyer time and money, they are going to be, bowing down to you, if you will, because that's something that they lack, right? Improve security as well. All of these documents within Scanshare, you can assure that they are going to be processed and stored securely. Like I said before, you want to make sure that you avoid those PII fines, and Scanshare can help with that. Compliance with regulations and industry standards. Also cost savings. I know we get kind of this question a lot was, why should I buy Scanshare if, it's costing me money? And the number one, answer that we have to that is in the long run, it's actually going to save them money because it's saving them time. And we all know time is money, right? You have improved organization and document classification. Like I said before, maybe you have Miss Shelley Jones, you may have Miss Shelley Davis, and it may be kind of hard to kind of differentiate those two if you are working on a case at the same time. But luckily with Scanshare, if you do have that OCR recognition on there, it can automatically store that document in the right place so you don't get your two Miss Shelleys confused. All right, so now we have Roth, the man, the myth, the legend, the foodie, the only man I know that can help me eat 6 pounds of zucchini fries. So Roth is going to come on and give you guys a live demo of Scanshare and just show you guys one of the examples. And if you have any technical questions at all, Roth is your guy. So Roth, I'll stop sharing my screen. That way you can share yours.
Wonderful. All right, just let me know if you guys can hear me okay, and if you could see my screen here in a second.
Yep, we can hear and see it. You are all good.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so Summer, thank you so much for that introduction. You did a great job breaking down Scanshare and all of its capabilities. My name again is Rafael Adjunta. I'm the product manager here at ACDI. I also used to be the technical trainer, so hopefully I can show you guys a thing or two about our Scanshare product here. So I have already gone ahead and skipped the logging in of Scanshare. I'm sure every one of you have ever seen a login screen before, so nothing special there. What I want to focus on today is just kind of giving everybody a really basic understanding of what Scanshare is, how easy it is to create a workflow, and also demonstrate some of the capabilities of Scanshare. There's some really cool stuff in here, so hopefully everybody learns something new and walks away with a new appreciation for this product. So logging in, as you can see, this is basically your standard web UI type of product. It is a Windows only platform product. It does run off of IIS or Internet Information Services. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're prospecting with a customer that this is going to be going on a Windows server. And as you can see, pretty basic web interface here. On the left-hand side, we have a main menu that goes over most of the different options that we have for Scanshare. Now, there are some that I'm going to want to highlight today. For example, the simulator, I'll show you guys in a bit, the web client, verification, and workflows. But really, when we're talking about Scanshare, the start of the show is going to be the workflows tab. And I'm going to show you exactly why. So if I click on the workflows tab, you can see here that I have a few different workflows that work for a bunch of different verticals. But of course, this includes the legal space. But just to show you how simple it is to create a workflow and what all a workflow entails, because keep in mind, what we're doing is taking documents. We are going to push the documents into a process. And then once Scanshare does its thing, then you will be able to store those documents wherever it is your customers are going to need it. Okay, and that's going to be the important part. Now, here I opened up a new workflow, and as you can see, this is just a like a diagram table, and you're going to see how real simple it is to set this up. So first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is change the name. I'm just going to call it simple workflow. Now I do have a damaged finger, so if you see me typing slowly, please bear with me. So simple workflow is going to be the first thing. Now, I do want to really quickly highlight that there are 4 different type of modules that we could add to our workflow. Okay, the first being capture. Now we have to start with a capture module, and I will show you here in a second why why that's important, because the capture is basically going to kick off our workflow. Right now, next we have processing, which has, I'm going to expand that for a little bit. We could do things like annotate, do it, read a barcode, write barcode if necessary, export data. There are modules that do ICR, which is like handwritten character recognition. There is image processing. We could read maker code. We can also read OMR, generate reports, smart OCR, zone OCR, and smart forms, which is going to be a real powerful module that we're going to go over here in a little. We also have triggers, which triggers is going to be like adding logic into our workflow. Okay, so what that means is that, for example, this conditional one is super powerful. If you're looking for a specific value in the document, let's say an invoice number, if your document doesn't have an invoice number, you could push it into a completely different part of the workflow than if your document does have an invoice number. So that is pretty powerful tool. There's also the verification module, which I would like to demonstrate quickly as well, if time allows it. And last but not least is your storage. This is what Summer was mentioning earlier, that as you can see, we have a multitude of different connectors that you can send your documents into. All of the usual suspects have been run it out here. Windows file system, we have SharePoint, World Docs, Net Documents, Salesforce. Scanshare even has its own repository in case of your customers looking for that as well. So there are a bunch of different options here. Now, just to kind of demonstrate what I was talking about earlier. So the first thing that we have to do is add a capture module. Now, what I'm going to add is a web client. Now, what happens if I don't add a capture module first? Well, this product is smart enough to tell you, hey, no capture modules to start the workflow with. Please add your first capture module. So there is a little bit of guidance from the Scanshare product while you're creating these workflows. So it makes it really simple and easy to understand. So I'm going to go ahead, add the web client, and I'm going to just keep this as simple as possible. What I want to do is look for the Windows file system. Now, do I want to scroll through all this? Nah, I'm going to be lazy. So I'm just going to type in Windows here on the top left-hand side, and look, it's going to find that module for me. I could just simply click on it, and then it will add that Windows file system module for me. Now, again, it's really smart. If I go ahead, hit save and close, it's going to tell me no, the connector Windows file system has not been configured. So the system's smart enough to know, hey, you have to configure where you want to store your document before you can continue. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And here there is a C drive called output, and I'm just going to do a backslash, and I'm just going to call that folder simple workflow. Okay. I'm going to save that file path. I can do different things with the file name here as well, but I'm not going to mess with that right now. Also, if I want to change what type of document I want to save this as, right now by default it's searchable PDF, but let's say I want to save that as a TIFF because I want it to go a little quicker than saving a PDF. So I'm going to go ahead, change that. I'm going to hit save. Another convenience feature that I really like from here. Now we only have 2 modules, really simple to follow. If I move this stuff around, right, I could still follow the workflow logic here because it's just kind of like a workflow chart, really simple to understand. But let's say if I wanted to, like my OCD kicks in a little bit and I want to make sure that it looks nice and neat, I have a stack button right here that will automatically organize your workflow for you, making it really easy to understand and follow. So that's just another little feature that I wanted to highlight for you there. So I'm going to go ahead, hit save and close. Now I have my web client here. And as you can see, my web client presents me with all the different workflows. So even though I'm logged in as an administrator, I still get to see the same thing that the end user is going to see, and also test it out before I push it out to all the end users. So I'm going to go ahead, click on simple workflow. We'll integrate with law-specific backend systems like PC law. I'm trying to remember right now. So I saw that question right now, so I'm just addressing it. We have a lot of different connectors. For example, iManage is really popular in the law space. Net Documents, World Docs, LexisNexis. There's a bunch of different connectors. I can't remember off the top of my head at this exact moment if PC law is one. But if you do have customers that are interested in connectors that are not existing, feel free to reach out to us. We are constantly developing new connectors. So even if it's not on that list, reach out to your ACDI rep and we will be more than happy to help you out with seeing what options we have for you. Okay.
Right, sorry, Rob, to chime in.
Go
That is
for
a
it.
great point. Thank you for doing that. We just do have a few questions. I didn't want us to get too far ahead of ourselves
Yeah, go for
before
it.
we answered those. But Mike, yes, Canon is, I know you didn't see Canon on the list, but it is supported as well. Sorry, it would not let me respond to your conversation. But I am going to put a link to our ACDI website that has Scanshare on it, and it does have a full list of those OEMs on there, about halfway down the page as well. So I'll send that, and it can scan and store into QuickBooks. That was another question as well, and I think that may be it. I think you covered the one about PC law, Ralph,
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
we should be good.
Okay,
Thank you.
wonderful. Thank you so much for that, Summer. So I'm going to go ahead, click on import document, and I'm just going to choose something super simple here. Let me see. Here in docs. So I'm just going to choose simple invoice. So I'm going to open that. And as you can see, it'll give you a quick little preview of what that document is. And then I'm going to just go ahead, click send. All right. I'm going to go ahead, open up my Windows folder system here. And within a few moments, as you can see, there is no simple invoice folder. Just going to refresh that here for a second. And actually, you know what? I'm just going to leave that running in the background because I see that we are running a little short on time and your time is valuable to us. So while that's finishing processing, I'm going to go into workflows. One more workflow that I want to show you, like most of the stuff is very, how do we say, par for the course with scanning solutions, right? We can do barcode splitting. We could do things like image processing where we're deskewing, despeckling, changing things to black and white. We can do all that type of stuff. The stuff that I want to show you is really like the differentiators with Scanshare. So another workflow that I want to show you is going to be verification. So that will be like, for example, and I'm just going to show you this workflow. Here, let's say we have a web client, maybe we have a MFP that can also send documents into the workflow process. And let's say, for example, we have a invoice processing team. So their job is to process invoice. And let's say they have to look at an invoice, and if it's, everything is correct, they can either accept the invoice or they can reject the invoice. So it will go into two different sections of the file system. So how would that look like? So I'm going to go back into my web client and I'm going to scan the same document just because to make it easier. But this time I'm going to use the verification workflow. So I'm going to import this document. I'm going to look for that simple invoice one more time, and I'm going to send. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to process, I'm going to go back into my folder system. And as you can see, I didn't touch it, right? You guys were able to see my screen the whole entire time. And we have our simple workflow document here waiting for us. So sometimes it does take a little bit for those images to process, but no worries. I am working off of a laptop and not a server. Does Scanshare have embedded functionality on most OEM brands? Any exceptions? So, okay, so Scanshare could basically work with any brand in the sense of if you want to initiate a workflow to a watch folder, every OEM brand is going to support sending a document to a folder and then kicking off the workflow from a watch folder. Now, there are what we call clients. For those of you that are familiar with our other products, you might know a client under the words embed. So we can embed a Scanshare software into most OEM brands. Okay. There are some exceptions, like for example, we are working with Canon to hopefully manufacture or to develop the full embedded client. I know that that was kind of like a question that was added before. It of course works with the Canon devices with watch folders, but we don't have the full embed client yet. But there are very few exceptions. Most of the OEM brands are supported. I could actually kind of come here really quick while we're waiting for that document to process and just kind of show you some of the ones that we have. So Brother, Kyocera, Lexmark, Ricoh, Sharp, Samsung, Toshiba, and Xerox, just to name a few. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, hit cancel, and then I'm going to go to the verification screen. And then as you can see, I have my simple invoice right here ready to go. I can hit view. And once I'm in the verification process, I could either just go ahead, hit accept or reject, but I kind of want to do something fancy here. I want to maybe put in a quick note, right, of saying, hey, look at this, right? Let's say, you know, you have a supervisor and you want to send it to that rejected folder. Hey, look at this. And then not just that, I want to go ahead, put a stamp on here and it says approved, but I'm going to reject this document. So what do? I left click that. I look at my rubber stamp and instead of approved, I'm going to go ahead, choose rejected or not. I chose the wrong one. So that's how you know it's a live demo, people. I chose the wrong one. All right. So, oh my God, I did it again. Okay. Rejected. There you go. So now I changed that to rejected and I'm going to go ahead, reject the document, and then it's going to move on to my next document. So pretty cool. I could not just approve or reject the document, but I could do annotation and I could even expand this and mess with the metadata fields. So there's a lot that you could do in the verification screen. All right, let's see. Okay, it looks like Mark Hart is answering some questions for me. So thank you so much, Mark. Appreciate that. All right, so that was the verification workflow. The very last thing that I want to show you, because it looks like I'm butting up on time, I just want to show you the smart forms. So smart forms is a super, super powerful module. And what's really cool about smart forms is that we can take a test document, and even if it's a handwritten one, so I'm just going to show that very quickly here under my docs here. So I have a patient intake form, and this is a fake form, so this is not real information, but as you can see, this is handwritten documents, a bunch of fields. I'm going to go ahead, look at that patient intake form, and I'm going to test it. Now, this might take a few seconds, so I will kind of talk or, you know, let it do its thing. But basically what it's going to do is look up all of those fields for me automatically. I didn't have to do anything. It created the first name field, the last name field, the home phone number, the cell phone number field. It put the whole first, it put in the short name of like the contact, the relationship. So it looked at everything that had to do with that patient intake form and just went ahead and created all that stuff for you. So it's really powerful. And for those of you who are asking what engines these are, so Scanshare uses OmniPage, Abby, and also uses some of Microsoft's, you know, artificial intelligence to do like the smart form stuff. So, but it looks like I've ran out of time. If you are interested in more information or want a demo, just feel free to reach out to either one of your solutions architects or your account representatives, and they will hook you up. So I will turn things back to Summer so that she could wrap this up for us. And I think she might even have a little game.